Hi, Carol here, and I have an emery oval die. It's so pretty. And I'm going to do a 33-minute and 7-second video for you. I apologize right at the start that it's so long, but I tried to keep in a lot of the elements that I used. If you're new to mixed media, I think you really enjoy the process of this little piece. And all you need to have is a die and some type of an intricate die that you like to use. If you're going to do this style of card, it is really pretty here. And I am making marks so that it is even on each side. And that's why I really like this T-square, because you really do. You butt it up against that paper, which is the 110-pound Michaels black cardstock. It's nice and thick. You know how sometimes it says 110 or 120 pounds, and it really, it's either flimsy most of the time, but not this. This cardstock is awesome. Here's my bird Inkiatic set that I got at the haul in the previous video. And I'm taking some of my microcore medical tape, and I like this tape because it doesn't leave any residue and it comes up nicely after you've die cut. So I'm setting that on the edge of both sides. Now I don't show it on this run, on this pass properly, but it just ignore what you see right there. Yes, because I end up taking it out and doing it on the other side of my plate, and we will see that in just a minute. I'm taking the die off here and I'm taking the guts out. It is so pretty. This is a really nice cardstock to work with. And then I'm going to take the Martha Stewart score tool, and I'm going to show you what I do after doing this style of technique, and I want to cut off a little piece of it. I just score it right on the edge, because you know how sometimes if you're doing score marks on one side or the other, you don't get it even. And this way, if you take your T, you make your mark right there at 2 inches, that's how mine was, and I take my T-square, butt it up against the score tool, and then I just run it down, because then I am not going to bump over into another line. I'm going to be pushing it against the ruler and staying in the groove, so it works really well. And then I can take my cutting mat and my cutting tool, and I can properly bring it in to that score mark without having to rescore with the die. It works really well, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So here I am just placing my ruler down again, my T-square, to line up the die so it's even on each side. So you just, yeah, I keep wiping the baby powder residue that I get from my Vagabond. I use that for embossing all the time, baby powder. And I'm just taking the tape I left on, putting it down, and this is how I pass it on each side. I leave it halfway over the edge of my mat right there. You could do it this way, but what I did is I turned it around. For some strange reason, I turned it around and I put the long paper in. See how I'm doing it there? And then I'm cutting it like that. Either or works very well. And when you get it back out, you have a perfect cut on each side, and then we'll move forward with the interactive mixed media piece. There you go. Isn't it so pretty? Yeah, I'm wiping the baby powder off again. Oh dear, yes. And now we're just going to move along and start with this side of the paper. When I take my my score tool here, my Martha Stewart score tool, the reason for scoring it at the 2 inches on each side, right along the edge of the die that we just did, sometimes it doesn't get even, and I don't get it right to the edge where it's even on both sides. But this way, if I put a score mark right there, I can go in with my cutting blade, and yes, I'm just taking the ends off, and I can cut it up to the score mark. So I cut it off first, and then I grab my little cutting mat and I cut in so that I don't have to rescore it. I get it as close as I can evenly, but you know, sometimes it shifts. Yeah, there I am, wiping it with my sweater again. Yeah, don't do that. I think we all do it though, don't we? So here I am. I've taken my Tim Holtz cutting blade and I am cutting it down to that score mark, bending it over. Now this is the design I wanted to do at first. I was going to slide a ribbon underneath that little fold there towards the center and totally changed. I ended up whacking those ones off later on, but you'll see that as we go on. And anyway, yeah, so I thought, okay, I'm going to cut an oval in the center, because if I do score it right at the 2-inch in again and fold it, I was going to have those two ends meet and then have a little ribbon passing through it. You can see how I folded here. Yikes, I stopped. I changed my mind right there. Nope, this is not going to go like that. I had another vision in my mind for this card. So I have this little sugar shaker. I got it at a thrift store. I put baby powder in it. And this is what I use most times when I do my embossing. And we are going to do that a little bit later. So now I'm going to clear off my space with a little baby wipe, get it nice and clean, put my piece down right here, taking out my perfect pearls. I love perfect pearls. And so I'm taking all the colors out, and the perfect medium that comes with perfect pearls, you know that little wee square? I'll show it to you here. You can get it in a small tube or a large block. I'm using the small one. The mixture in this, see the small one there, is so much better than using your Versamark. The element that's in that perfect medium makes the perfect pearl stick to it far better than your Versamark. So I just encourage you, if you do use perfect pearls, the Ranger medium is much better to use. It has something in both products that make it stick and cling when you spray it with water. So I've taken a piece of paper here so that I don't get it on the other piece. And I am just randomly stamping those little birds. They are so cute, aren't they? And then I'm adding little heads in the spaces that are blank. So there we have it. And we're going to start with the perfect pearls. And always remember, when you open perfect pearls, they open with the cap at the top. Oh yeah, you can see I had a little bit of a mishap on one of them there. So I've taken all different colors, and the little berries I did in the red, and did the birds all different colors. And you don't have to worry about going out of the lines, because with perfect pearls, that only sticks to that medium, that Ranger. It's like a Versamark, but it's really it's thicker in its components. So here we go. It is so relaxing to use perfect pearls. I mean, you can't go wrong. You can go out of the lines, and another thing, you can go over top of a color, and the top color is the one that will stay once you spray it with your water mist. So if you don't like the color, grab another one. So here I've got my makeup buffer, and I'm going to take a baby wipe to clean the one side, because this cardstock is wonderful. It'll hold up to water beautifully. And I am going to water spray the other side, because that is your fixative. The spray mist will fix that perfect pearls onto your page. And I'm putting quite a bit, as you can see, and this will not, you can touch it and everything, it will not move. Look how beautiful that looks. I'm loving it. Here's where my mind switches. I'm going, oh no, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this now. So I take my We Are Memory Keepers folder, and it's the quilted one. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I decide, okay, I'm going to have that as backdrop just behind there. And that's all I was going to do, and we were going to go from there. So I just cut it out with my Tim Holtz long. You want to make sure you even it up too. That's what I was showing you there as I'm going 100,000 miles an hour. And sorry, Virginia. My friend Virginia likes it when I don't move too fast on the videos. But on this one, it would have been about 4 hours long if I didn't. So here I am wondering, okay, what am I going to do here? Shaker card. Oh yeah, this is going to be a mixed media shaker It's going to be a lot more than that, but we're starting with the shaker element right here. So you're going to need a piece of acetate, cut it down to just a little bit in from your project, and have that ready to go, and turn it over, and I'm going to add just some double-sided tape. Any tape will do. This is my Suquin tape, very, very sticky. And now I'm just cleaning up the edges, and we are going to proceed on making a shaker. What's really nice here about that quilted We Are Memory Keepers embossing folder is the way it's so padded on there. Yes, I'm just putting the acetate down, taking a look at it. Doesn't that look pretty? And I'm wondering, what am I going to do there? Yes, my Sakura pen. It's so pretty, isn't it? I don't use these pens enough, but it seriously goes on so nicely, and it makes it look like a little pillow. Quilted pillow. I just love this look. And you want to make sure you get all those raised dots. I missed one there, and I come back when I look through it here, and there it is. Yes, it sparkles, and it just adds to that perfect pearl on the front with the birds. I don't know, it just looked really pretty. So I am using the 1 inch. It comes in 1 inch like I just showed there very quickly, and comes in 1 inch and 1/2 inch. I used the 1 inch, which really doesn't matter when you do it, but I just grabbed for the 1 inch. And here I'm taking a piece of dollar store fun foam, and I thought maybe I would set this all over the back because it's completely peels off on that white side, and then you have the black to match the project, the paper. So I cut it out, but I didn't end up using it. I'll show you why in a minute. But I wanted to leave it in the video just so that you know dollar store fun foam, that you tear off the piece of sticky there, works fabulous right there. But the beads were just a little bit bulky, so I decided to take off this just all the way around the inside center there, and I grabbed the Stampin' Up! Round. It's kind of like a fun foam as well. It is for shaker cards. You buy it for shaker cards. I'll show it to you right here. And I put that around. See them, these little circles? And I put that all the way around the outside so that I had a little bit more lift than the fun foam. And you know, when I look back, I think I could have used either or. It would have worked perfectly. And I just added some extra tape on the inside, took all of this off here because I need to add some more to the project to raise it up even with the Stampin' Up! The Stampin' Up! Foam. Yes. So I did that here, yes. But I didn't have to add so much this time. But this project did take a little, yeah, look at all that tape I used. But I really don't mind if the project comes out well at the end to use this much, right? And so here we go. And we're going to move on. What I do right here is I take my baby powder and I go around the edges so that none of my beads stick on that tape, right? So I just take a paintbrush and I go around the edges. I wipe it with a baby wipe so it's nice and clean and nothing will stick. I used a little bit too many beads, so I put it back in because I didn't want it to come above the oval that I put in it. Now that I have each of the beads all snugged in that little oval, I put my other piece of acetate and I'm happy with the amount that's in there. And now I'm just putting some double-sided tape around the outer edge to hold the cushion on. And that's all you need really. It's nice and sticky, and I set it down and look at that. It is so pretty to look at with the quilt, and I just wanted to clean off the front with the baby wipe, and we are going to proceed on to take a black magic marker, any magic marker, and I went and did all the inside as best I could to cover the white that was showing on the edges. Now I am taking this one piece of the die that you have extra, and I am cleaning off my stamp because I want to put some Stays On ink, right, because I'm going to use it on acetate. and that medium that we used for the Perfect Pearls is really sticky, so I wanted to get most of it off. I put gold stays on first, and then I did my birds in black. I stamped it with the block, and it wasn't really a clear image, so I took it off and I pressed it down with my hand, and that worked really well to get an impression right there of the birds. And now I want to put this over the edge because it helps to hide that white around the inside. So now we're going to emboss with gold, as you can see. Yes, so I take that oval and I take my roller. This is embossing fluid, stays on fluid in a roller. I take my coffee filter. I went over it. Isn't that wonderful? It just comes out so nicely. And I take some of my Hero Arts extra fine gold, and I make sure that my heat tool is really hot. I hold it down with my pokey tool and I quickly heat emboss this so it's matches the beads that are inside. And now I'm going to take my beacon glue. Love my beacon glue. Now I always tell you, you get 3 times the amount at Michael's for beacon glue, and it is identical to Glossy Accents. And when I use my applicator here, I don't use the extra fine. This is the normal sized applicator because it is a little thick. So I want to run that by you, that you use the you don't use the extra fine applicator. Isn't that pretty? So you want to take out your micro brushes, the ones you can get at your dental office or your pharmacy, and we are going to use some alcohol inks. Love coloring with alcohol inks. I just put them on a mat, the colors I wanted the birds, take my micro brush, and I can't tell you how relaxing it is. And I'm going to cut these out, so it didn't matter whether I stayed in the lines, as you can see. But you can stay in the lines very well with doing coloring with alcohol inks. Here I just didn't care because I knew the birds, I wanted them to go over top of the black embossed that would be above that gold emboss oval. You will see in just a minute. And here I am fussy cutting them. It's so easy to fussy cut on acetate. I just really enjoyed it, actually. And now I do one bird at a time just to make sure I get it how I want it. And I take my beacon glue because it will work very well putting acetate on acetate. You can't see through it. It dries clear like Glossy Accents. I put it all the way around the edges, and then I put it over top of the stamped black bird there because it is going over top of the embossed die, the gold embossed die right there. Now I'm taking this second little birdie and we're going to fussy cut that out, and I'm going to raise it on top of the stamped image, and it really does have a beautiful effect. If you look at it sideways, you see the underneath black stamped image, and if you look straight on, you get this beautiful, beautiful color with those alcohol inks. It's simply beautiful. And the beacon glue will hold that on there beautifully, and you see the little gold beads going in and around that die cut. Very, very elegant. Now I turned it over and I'm doing the back. I love the Heartfelt Creation So Kindness paper, and all I did was put make sure all of the back had my Suquang tape on it. I take it off and then I set my paper where I want to have it. I don't cut it out first. I set it on top right there, and then I just press it down. I take my Tim Holtz long scissors that I got from Virginia. Thanks, Virginia. I use them all the time. And I cut around it so nicely because you know by seeing those little scrap pieces of paper on my desk, I am vintaging it out. I grab my great big scissors and I am distressing all the edges with my Tim Holtz scissor. It's cutting through quite a bit, and I wanted to have it really well vintaged, and I wanted to make sure I didn't touch those little intricate dies that are folded over, and I think it ended up doing a good job. So I grabbed these pearls that I got from Bonnie and Sherry, and I have enough room in between here to go over it. I'm taking some black soot and going over the edges, and then I'm taking my old, it's like an old olive color, but it's Tim Holtz Distress Inks. It's a green, and I'm going over this paper just to make sure it had some real vintage element to it. And then I'm going to take those pearls and my hot glue gun, see right there, and I'm going to place them in between. I think it will add a really nice feel to it, a real feminine feel to this project. And it has enough room to perfectly put the pearls. And what's better than pearls when you're using perfect pearls, right? And I love the saying, sow kindness, because you sow and you reap. So whatever you sow, you end up reaping in life. And I really like this heartfelt creation paper. Now I'm taking my hello die, my tree die, and a little birdie die that I had, and we're going to work on the front again. So we're moving right along. I take my, it's like a birch tree die that I just got in that haul. I'm putting it on my thick acetate. This is very thick acetate I'm using. I cut out 2 of them, and then we're going to alcohol ink them up in just a minute, and they are going to look gorgeous. When I use the acetate, I like to buy the thick acetate, and it works really well. And now I'm going to take this Arlene's later on. I just don't want to forget. It is the Arlene's Line Runner, and we're going to put it on the back there. So I'm making sure all the little gut pieces are out of the trees, and I'm clearing off a space. Isn't that pretty? I'm clearing off the space here, and I am going to cut out 8 little birds, and I'm going to cut out 4 black, 4 gold, and then I'm going to cut out the hello die here, and I'll show you how I use that at the end. So here's, and I use up every little piece of paper. You will see that. Isn't that pretty? I love that hello die. It's so intricate, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, it's like a saying, but I fixed that by putting a bird over the bottom. Really cute. And I cut out my paper. Look how I use every single piece of that gold flat cardboard. Hard to come by that. I haven't found that, and I'm really trying to save it up there. So here I am putting the birds. I want 4 of the birds to have a black background and 4 to have a gold. I do not glue the bird tail feathers because I want them to stick up. It gives me a little bit of a 3D look. And remember, if you want birds to face the opposite direction, you have to turn your one sheet over and cut on the opposite side, right? So now this is my alcohol inks in gold and green. Now the gold is beautiful, and they are birch trees, so I go all the way down one way, and then it dries. By the time I finish this, it is dry. Then I take my micro brush and I go across so that you get that effect of a birch tree. And now I'm taking the green and I'm doing all of the branches in the green. And then I also take some mahogany, and I do some of that on 1/2 of the trees. I'll show you later on here. So I'm doing the, just putting them on a mat. I cut this mat up into little squares so that I just got rid of this one when I was finished because it was a mess. Yeah, and I bought so many of those mats, it was okay. And here now I'm just running it down with the brown and letting it seep on its own. Just run down. That's the beauty of mixed media. You just see how the one is different from the other. And here's my Arlene's tack runner. It is on a film, and it is thin like glue dots, and you just line them up like that, peel them off, and you have a stick. Look at, isn't that gorgeous? I know I'm going 100,000 miles an hour, but you get it at Michael's, and I got this right there, tacky roll, and you can always get these on sale. You get them, oh, I don't know how much is in a roll, but I have had these for years. Every time I go in there and see them on sale, I grab a box of them. So now I'm deciding, okay, I want more of the branches to be on the inside facing the oval, and when I put it down I want to have a 3D look, so I go like a wave. I lift some of the tree up, some of it down, some of it up, and I only tack down about every half an inch and let some of the tree be raised up. And I put that, you can notice it right there on there. And now I wanted to clip those ovals down. And how am I going to do that? I found 2 buttons. You know the pieces of the metal that have that round part that is like a stem? I grabbed 2 of those and I set the bird right on top of them. And it gave me enough lift that it would hold each side of that die down. I just stuck the glue in the hole, raised it up on that button clasp, put it inside there, and glued it down with my hot glue gun, and look at that. It is high enough to keep it away from the trees, kept my bird on top, and secured that die perfectly around there. So now I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do with these other blackbirds? Oh yeah, remember that gold thread I got at the dollar store? I sent some of that thread to my friend Fran, and this is what I did with it. It is so nice and fine. It's so flexible. I cut the hello out of that die, and I glued it on to this piece of wire, and I glued it so that it was more towards me, so it had a lift to it. I didn't want it to be flat. And here I am going to put a black bird with the gold black. One's facing one way, one's facing the other way. I'm going to take my micro brush and twirl that wire around there so I get that beautiful edge of coil, and I'm going to rest it up against the oval right there, just at the bottom. And there's my little blackbirds underneath. And while the glue is still warm, I'm just releasing some of it so it's nice and clean and looks really nice on the hello. I was going to add like a shadow, but I thought, no, I like the gold on gold, so I didn't use that hello. And these birds where I coiled the end, I end up wrapping them around these birds to look like feathers. You'll see it in just a minute. Right here, I'm wrapping it behind the one portion, going underneath the head and then cutting it off. And it looks like he has little feathers going down the bird. Look at that, isn't that cute? And I do it on each side, right like that. Okay, so we've got that far on this side. Yes, so pretty. And doesn't that coil on the bird just add to it? And there's the pearls, the perfect pearls. A really cute mixed media card. And I'm just showing you the little hello raised up forward. It really does stand out. Well, I'm setting it down here to get my Pico embellisher, and I'm putting it on the birds, and I'm going around all of the die, all the intricate little floral parts that are inside this die. I love the Pico embellisher because it is thinner than glossy accents, and it just gives a beautiful shine to whatever you add it to, and it's really pretty. On the birds, I went around all of the branches that had the little bits of holly, and I put it on that as well. I'm tipping it right here so that I can get 2 layers on my birds. Yeah, I shook it there and it dripped off the one bird, but that's okay. Look how gorgeous these birds look over top of the black stamped image underneath. The colors just, in real life it's vibrant. And the hello is moved forward so you get that 3D look. I think it looks so pretty. And now this is the second piece, the inside of the inside piece of the die. I am taking the beacon glue, going all the way around it and setting it down, up and down actually, instead of, I'm doing it vertical instead of horizontal. And I'm adding my perfect pearls in the mild gold. I'm going around all of the butterflies to give them some texture. It is so pretty. And I just love this liquid. It dries beautifully, especially for eyes. It just stays put. Isn't that beautiful? And so kindness. I think that's a beautiful thing to try and apply in our lives. And now I'm going to move on to the front here. As soon as I get it set, I just keep staring at those birds. I love the way the birds sit up on the sides on those buttons, the gold ones. And I'm showing you that nice quilted effect right there of the shaker. Just, I don't know, just a lot of nice elements I find I have in this card that, you never know. You just keep adding and adding and new thoughts come to your mind. I love the birds like this on the outside of that die because when you stamp it with gold and black on the inside, you get a 3D look. And look at that, the feathers just come alive. And there you can see all the little birds, and I put the sparkle glitter on all the eyes, the Perfect Pearls liquids. And there's probably more that I missed that I didn't tell you, but I always like when I'm looking at it to remember this started out on black cardstock, and you have this pretty shaker look with the acetate trees, acetate heart, birds. I mean, just every element there that you wouldn't even guess was acetate. I love the way the trees are three-dimensional, sticking out because we didn't flatten them, and the different colors. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with some pictures. Thank you, subscribers, and thank you everybody for your support, and especially for viewing this long video. Have yourself a blessed week, everybody. I appreciate you all. Take care.